It's called The Power of Creation courses through this weapon. Well, this week really has flown by, and I've not managed to make a post the whole week. I've actually had complaints about the lack of a new post, which I'm a little surprised about. Still, my apologies to those who've waited patiently for an update. So, what's been happening in my life recently? Well, raids have not been fantastic, I have to say. Yet more cancelled raids. It seems to be a recurring theme. But then again, we did get a raid. Together, we had some promising tries on Yogg 3, at one point even taking him to 2%. With a little more recruitment on a few fronts, I've no doubt we'll be back on track. We've had a lot of hacks lately, our most active raid leader being the most notable. He has unfortunately resorted to playing a level 11 priest on another account and sitting on vent telling the late nighters about the dreams he has about the other guildmates and dogs. This of course led to a few more interesting circumstances, not least of which was having most of our guild bank stolen and placed on the auction house. At first this rather irritated me, but most of the money remained in there, and after a short while I realised wait, I've lost my place. Oh god, this is huge. I need to paragraph this so badly. Oh, there we are. At first this rather irritated me, but most of the money remained in there, and after a short while I realised the upside of having our guild bank stolen. I could buy it back, at a very reasonable price I might add, so I began stocking up the guild bank up again, mass buying enchanting mats and the like off the auction house. You might say, well, how is that good? You've had to buy all the things you already own. True, but then I got a rather large amount of mail from Blizzard. Every item that was stolen was returned, so we have rather cheaply doubled the stock of enchanting materials in our guild bank. I've done an awful amount of heroics in the past week, mostly on my paladin. I had a fantastic group of people helping me out, and he's geared up shockingly quickly. Also ran a few Ulduar 10 runs on him, yet more gear from that. So that's the week covered. What about the weekend? Well, last night I went out to a friend's house, his sister's birthday I believe. Well, you can imagine how that went. Lots of drink, lots of people, lots of food, fun times. My only regret is spending so much time outside that night. It was a rather large party, and there were tents set out in the garden and food being served and such like. My friends and I mostly just sat around and drank as much as we possibly could, but this of course led to me being in a state where I no longer realised I was being eaten alive by lots of tiny flying insects, so my face now has more bites on it than a pack of crackers in a mouse cage. I left early, and I mean early, before 8 o'clock in the morning. I got home and collapsed into bed for a few hours. So, I need to find my place again. So I awoke around 2 o'clock I think, pretty much my usual time of awakening, and logged onto WoW quickly. A friend of mine had just logged on as he got back from work, and persuaded me to go out for a quick meal before raid time, so we sped off to the pub for a while. Now, raid time. We struggled, which to be honest I expected, but we put together a raid with a reasonable setup, and we stepped into Yogg's room once again to test our mettle. I'm not a religious man, but I was sorely tempted to thank God for today. I do not know what divine being was watching over us tonight, but he looked at us and said to himself, "Poor sods." He reached out his big old glowy hand of holiness and sprinkled some pixie dust onto us. I'm pretty sure that's how gods do things nowadays. Our lost raid leader logged on, amongst much applause, so a huge welcome back to him, and thank goodness he has all his gear still. So, we've not had the best raiding week. I'm hungover, tired, covered in insect bites, but by God, tonight was the best night of my life. There it was, sitting safely on Yogg's corpse, that little quest item, reforged hammer of ancient kings. I do not think I've had so many whispers in my entire life. I struggled to hand out the other loot, my hands were shaking so much I thought they were going to set off a landslide in a small hilltop village 5,000 miles away. Still, I got through, and then headed to hand in my quest, with most of the raid, and quite a few people who weren't in the raid, tagging along to watch. Months of raiding, every raid, whether I was tired, drunk, at home, out with friends, had family over, whether there were other things I should be doing, or simply wanting to take a break. It really makes you think. This game is a lifestyle, it's a commitment, and if you sign up for the hardcore package, you really reap the rewards, because through all of that tiredness, drunkenness, being at home or out, or with family or with friends, through all that every raider goes through without even thinking about it, there are 20 24 other people sitting at their computer who do just the same thing. You appreciate their work, their time and their friendship, and they appreciate yours. That's a raid. That's a guild. I got a legendary today. A legendary. 30 fragments. You don't just get a legendary though. You get a great big smile, and you get a million congratulations from people you don't even know. You get your whole guild being happy for you. In a way, that's the legendary part. Every time that little bubble procs, I can sit and remember today. Thank you, guild.